Well, I must admit it, since the Catholic Church is now 80 or so percent Protestant, I have to explain transubstantiation. And that's when the Eucharist is held during Mass above the priest's head and he calls down the Holy Spirit. God doesn't become bread and wine become Christ. In remembrance is a different avenue. This is the actual real body and blood of Christ. He said, my body is true food, my blood is true drink. He who eats and drinks proclaims my name on earth, and when I come, I'll proclaim his name in heaven. Now, he added that it has to be, you must confess your sin. Who do you confess your sin to? A priest. The 12 that he laid hands on and washed their feet. Also laid hands on the descendants of them all. 12. There was actually 13. Mary Magdalene, but they discriminated against women back then. 1 and 3, 13. There was 13 disciples. And if you want to call the Queen of Heaven, there was 14. So we're off, man. There wasn't just 12. There was 14 that followed Jesus as his disciple. And the Queen Mother was without sin. How could sin bring holiness into the world, people? It can't. Only holiness can bring holiness into the world. And the Blessed Mother made Jesus' heart, which is ours now for the asking. Do you love Jesus? Ask him to come in. Ask him to take over your heart and love you and hug you and show you all kinds of things. He'll do it. He's omnipotent. He can do it to everyone. There's not enough people. He was disappointed because there's not enough people that are calling him. There was a saying St. Faustina was talking about to some other saying. I was just something I heard in the background that there was 2,000 priests at the door of heaven waiting to get in. And the doors opened. How many got in? She was asked. And she goes, 3 each. Only 3? That's how corrupt the church is, people. They're in there. I was accosted by them when I was not a teenager, but a young man. So I went through a very traumatized period when I joined St. Leo College down in Florida. I hung out at the monastery down there, and I saw everything that was happening. And I wasn't really impressed, but with just a few, like 3. There was only 3 in that whole monastery that I trusted. Everybody else, heck, the brothers were running off with each other for a couple of months and coming back, and they let them back in. I said, what the heck is that about? They find another guy to go run off with for a couple of months, come back, look around, see who they can stare at and get a stare going, you know. And they're all staring, and then they're gone. They're gone with each other, you know. That's what happens in a monastery. St. Leo down in Florida about 50 years ago. I hope it's changed. But I lived there. I lived among them all. I only found 3 good priests down there. And one was so poor, his t-shirt was almost black from dirt. Nobody took care of him. He fed the squirrels every day. And he says, I'm penniless. I don't have a cent. He goes, I was looking at him and, oh man, that poor guy. Nobody's even, they're letting him stay there because he's a priest, Father, what was his name? I bet you he prays for me because I gave him money, because he didn't have any money at all. And he wanted to feed the squirrels, so he went out and bought a great big bag of, about a 50-pound bag of peanuts in the shell, And he used to do it, and all the kids would come around. Not the kids, I call them kids because I'm 77. But all the students would come around, they'd stop and they'd talk to him, and he'd talk back to them and stuff. So he played his part. A poor little priest, retired now in the monastery. That was one I found. Then there was a Father Paul Rampf. He was a musician. I found him, and he was kind of like in charge of me while I was down there for 2 years. He was my priest. I confessed everything to him. He knew everything about me. And then I got into the chair of theology down there. They wanted to open up a chair of theology in St. Leo College, and I was the only candidate because I was in a religious education program. And I was being scrutinized, tested, everything, to see who are they sticking in that seat of theology, I'm going to get degrees. I graduated. I wasn't high honors. I was just an average person. B's. I got B's. I got a lot of A's, but I averaged about 3.0 when I graduated. I graduated with a 3.0 average. It was high enough to be in the Social Science Honor Society, so I joined that. Who was it? Dr. Williams from University of Central Florida convinced me I should join that. I never used it. It's sitting somewhere in my house, I never used it that I'm a member of the Social Science Honor Society because of my grade point average. I graduated high school. High school too, because I didn't graduate high school. Maybe that skip in my memory will bring that up. I didn't graduate from high school because I dropped out. They wouldn't let me play football. I wanted to go to college and everything on football, but I had an undescended testicle. It was up on my side. It wasn't down in the scrotum. So they said I couldn't play football. I could play junior varsity or something because they don't hit that hard. But you get up in varsity, it's a bunch of men. They're all men, 17, 18-year-old men, and they hit hard. So they didn't want me to play football. So I said, okay, I quit. I'm out of here. What the heck do I want to stay in school for? Yeah, I hate school. So I got out of it because I got a beating all the time. My dad would beat the shit out of me because I'd look cross-eyed at the teacher and he'd kick me out of class and then I get a beating for it. I remember there were some teachers there, I wanted to pick my desk up and heave it right on top of their head while they sat there looking at me. And they were looking at, go ahead, I want a disability. I want to get out of this too. I can't stand coming in every day to you guys. You drive me nuts. He didn't know how to teach. He was just a little guy, And if you intimidated him, he'd kick you out of the class. Go down to the principal, sit there. And I was a big kid too. I was like a year older than everybody else. Probably 2 years old, because my mother says. I'm 76, but I'm actually 77, she told me. Not too long ago either. But she's 94. She could have lost her mind a little bit there. Because she said I was conceived out of wedlock. That I'm a bastard. And I was thinking, that's what she told me, just a few. She's pretty smart now. Remember that. She's really smart. So I'm a bastard now, right? She told me. Yeah, you were born, because I told her, I says, I should have married a younger woman. I married an older woman. A younger woman probably would have obeyed me more. This one does her own thing, So, and that's the way it ends up, 77, she's doing her own thing. I don't sleep. I don't go to bed at night. I go to the couch at night because we both snore. And I don't blame her. I don't want to be. Keep me up. Whoever gets to sleep first gets to sleep. The other one stays up with zombie eyes, all night long, Yeah, too. I had, he's dead now, but I had a buddy, a carpenter, right? And he invited me up to, what lake was that? It was a lake up north, New York. And I was going to tear decks apart and put them on. And they gave me my own, Joe and I and another guy. There was, what was his name? But when I came, he was sleeping out on the porch. It was freezing. I'm going, why is he sleeping out on the porch? He had his bed, all these big pillows and all that, and he's covered up and everything. That's the other guy that he got. Chris, his name was. He was younger than me. And Joe was older than me. He was about 10 years older than me. He just died. But anyways, I pray for him. But anyways, I get back to it. The St. George Norge. That's where it was. St. George, New York. We had a big job up there to tear the balconies off this one big condominium and put them on. Joe was getting $750 for putting a hole in the wall for each one, and there was all kinds of them. He was making money hand over foot. And he says, Bill, they need somebody to redo the decks. You want that job? I said, yeah, I'll try it. So they when I got up there, had one room they rented for all three of us guys. Two double beds, and let's see, two double beds is all that was in that room. And the one guy, Chris, had took the bed and undid it and just moved it out to the porch, the foyer porch, because there was a door and a foyer, and then there was a door you go into the apartment. I thought, why is he sleeping out here? What is he can't take the heat or something? Does he sleep with too high of a heat or something? Well, I found out why. The St. George snores. That guy snored. And I was like a zombie. I couldn't sleep or nothing. And oh, jeepers, And that's why, St. George Norge. That was Joe Mullo. He was, we did a lot of jobs together. He made a lot of money off me. Over $1 million, I bet. Because one time, he only told me, I said I get 3%, because I was a New York State broker, and I brokered a verbal deal between him and I, and John Eichhoff. John Eichhoff paid his bills, but Joe didn't. I was supposed to get 3% of everything he made, and that was a lease, an honor lease, a lease that we verbally agreed to, and he didn't fulfill it. He made. At one count, I said, how much you made so far? He says, around 300,000. And he just looks at me like, you ain't getting a cent. Jeepers. What are you going to do? Sue your friend and your best friend? He was kind of like my best friend. So I just let him slide. And he died. I pray for him still. I got ripped. He made close to $1 million. Man. Because the last time I talked to him, he said, how much money have you done so far? He said, around 300,000. I get 3% of that. That's 30 grand, man. I got ripped out of 30 grand from him. And then to make up for it, he gives me his wife's house to sell. And I sell it, and I make $1,500. Because I gave him a deal. I gave him half off my commission. That's why they gave me the house. Joe's always thinking ahead. Oh, say $1,500, we'll let Nixon put it on the market. And I put it on the market, and I got a good price for it. It was one of those old 1939 homes, stick built, 39, maybe 1928, somewhere around here. And it went for around 60. She wanted 78 for it, and I think I sold it for 62, somewhere around there. because the woman who bought it was on a HUD program, and they only pay so much, and if we took the deal, they give her the money to buy the house. So then I had already worked out a deal with them that whatever commission I make, I'll only take half for expenses and time I spent and stuff. I don't make a profit off my friends, but they make a profit off of me every time, and they don't tarry about it either. You know, I had a real estate buddy of mine. He was a broker. I said to him, I'll give you the houses. I had these big, because I was listing houses, because I was, list with me and home repairs are free, minor home repairs. I was getting all kinds of houses, man. So I tried it on a friend of mine. He was a broker. I said, I'll broker this house to you, you sell it, and give me $500 for the broker fee. It was like pulling teeth to try to get that $500 after you sold the house in 2 weeks and made $3,500. He would have made $3,000 and I would have made $500 for giving him the job. And he didn't even have it for 2 weeks. That's $1,500 a week. You know? So I'm getting out of this. You know, everybody says they're Christian, but they're not. They're greedy. They're all greed. And they have a misconception. That's what I was talking about. I was making this transubstantiation. They have a misconception of Eucharist. They think that Jesus goes into the bread and wine, but they use it memory-wise. And they don't even do communion right. They leave out the water. If you notice the priest, when he does the Mass, it's the wine, the bread, and a little drip of water for purity, for baptism, for all that. That's put into the formula of Jesus. And it's a formula you got to have faith to believe it too, because and you don't believe in it unless you ask God for it. You got to ask God. If you don't have faith, you got to ask God for it. Oh, I have good pain. God gives me good pain. Oh, come on. I just lay, oh, God. Oh, I've been coughing so much, and now my ribs are starting to heal because I'm not coughing as much. And when they heal, and when you stretch, oh, there's a good pain, but it's a pain. And it's that stretch good pain. God, give me some good pain. I'll take good pain rather than bad pain, that's for sure, because I've had bad pain. I've had some pain, people, that I screamed so high you couldn't hear my scream. That's how bad the pain was. Man, just to show you an example, a Japanese beetle went down my right ear 2 years ago. It's 2 years now. I complained about it. I just talked to the DEA. I said, did you ever hear about a Japanese beetle going down anybody's ear? He goes, no. I said, well, I reported it 2 years ago with the doctor's emergency slip and everything I went to. It went down my ear and it leached in. And when it started sucking blood. It went down my ear, and when I chased it, it was round. And when I chased it, my finger trying to get it out, I just pushed it further down. That's their tactic. That's why they got that round ball, hard ball, because they go in the ear, and then you try to get it out, and it's slippery. It's like a round ball. You can't get it. All you do is push him down, and you're trying to get behind him, but he's holding on, and you ain't getting behind him. And when he gets down there, he bites in, man. He starts sucking blood. And it's screaming pain, people. Screaming pain. If we don't get rid of them Japanese beetles, why do they call them Japanese beetles? They come from Japan. They going to get us back or something? I will get you one of these days. How many days later? All the Japanese beetles in there, what do they do? Have give the order, some chemical or something like that will make them. There'll be so many of them, they'll start going down people's ears and animals' ears. I know they go down animals' ears because I've had them jump on me. And nobody knew, the vet didn't know what was wrong with them. A Japanese beetle went down, made him go nuts. He jumps on you and bites you and everything else. You have to put put them away, put them down. You know, he probably was in this is what the vet says, because she isn't going to investigate. You know, it costs a lot of money to do that. So she goes, he probably was in a fight and had a cyst on his head, and he just went nuts, you know. It busted, and he went wacky. Because my wife couldn't even it was our cat, man. She couldn't get him, it was a male, off her leg. It was a gray cat, bushy tail. I used to call him Augie Doggy, because he was like a dog. And he jumped on my wife's leg and bit right into it with both claws. And he wouldn't let go. And she's screaming and everything. She went and did it all behind my back because I didn't know it was my cat, you know. But she said I had to have Augie put down. I said, why? What happened? He jumped on me, bit me, wouldn't let go and all that. I took him to the vet and they said that he had a cyst on his brain. So I had him put down. And that's the way that went. That was my pet cat, Augie Doggy. He had a broken tail. You see his tail be up and then it'll look like this. You know, like, I mean, it was like straight up and then it went over like that. A cat with a broken tail. Somebody had stepped on him when he was abused. I found him in a supermarket. I was getting groceries and somebody put him out on the front, knowing that people would be going in, oh, little kitty, where's his owner? You know, and grab it, and that's how they get rid of their cats, you know, instead of throwing them in a bucket of water or something like that and drowning them because there's too many around the barn, or it smells like piss all over the place. There's fights all night long, and screaming, jeepers. Cats are nice, and they're very cuddly and stuff like that, but you have to put up with quite a bit from them. My wife has to clean its place where it takes a piss all the time. All the time. She has to buy this stuff that you put in a big bucket, and the cats like to dig in it and go to the bathroom, and it turns into a piss ball, I call them. It looks like little turds, but they're not turds. It's piss dried up into the cat litter. So, and she scoops it out with a spoon that shakes all the cat litter out and keeps the clump, and then she dumps that in the garbage, and then I take it out to the garbage. That's how we do that. I mean, she keeps it up pretty good. I'm not gonna. Her cats, they get the best care. She's very good at caring for her animals. Because her heart's in it with them. And they brought Terminex in here. Damn Terminex, man. And you can't take them to court because you got to prove it. Where did the cat get poisoned? Why did he have water on the lung all of a sudden? He ate one of them damn mice, and that's one of the symptoms of poison, being poisoned. You get water on the lung. And they had to take water in the chest, that is, area. They take a quart of water out of her, fluids out of her. How much that costs? $200, something like that. And then it fills up again, and she's starting to feel woozy, and so you take her and you have it drawn again. How many times can you do that? My wife says, is she in pain? And the vet says, yes, she's in pain. So my wife said, put her down, please. So I just buried her out there. Our kitty cat, Grace. And then the thought goes through your head, and the devil's in there, and he says, God took your grace away, Billy. What do you think about God now? You know, he does that to me all the time. And I always make an excuse up for God. Like when I fell out of my car this winter, I slipped and bam, right on my head and everything. My leg went one way and the other leg went the other way, and I felt every muscle in my knee rip away from the bone. And I says, 70 years, and what was it, 75, and I'm going to be crippled for the rest of my life. And I'm laying there looking up under my wife's car. It's her new car. I'm looking up under it at the muffler, and everything. I'm laying there waiting for the pain to go away and everything. And I hear this voice. Hey, Billy, where's your God now, huh? Where is he? And I said back to it, I says, oh, you can't see him? He's right here fixing my knee. And the demon, whatever it was, I saw the vision. He went, and he ran, man, and not ran, he just was absorbed into the darkness. He got away real quick. I guess if they see the eyes of holiness, it's like a laser. It's like being, like you got a bunch of cattle and you got that stick that you hit them with. Well, that's what when the angels and the saints look at evil, and especially in the end times, evil can't. The evil, they won't be able to even look at you. You're so holy. God will make you so holy. And if they do eye contact with you, it will go right through their brain, right through their soul. And it hurts because they've known pain for the first time. That's what happened when Jesus was, on the story about Jesus and the mystery of what happened. How did Satan become, the angel of death rather than an angel of light? And the story was that Jesus was in the desert and he was starving, and the devil appeared to him. Says, "Bow down, worship me, and I'll give you everything. You don't even have to die for your people. I'll give you all them too, if you bow down and worship me." And Jesus just said to him, "Get behind me, Satan. You do not have any power unless God gave it to you. And you don't have the power to save all these people for me. I'm trying to get them. And I'll get them too. You'll get some too. You'll call out the ones that I'll never get, that will not give me 2 cents. I've seen people not give God 2 cents because of the influence of another family member that was very religious be saved right on their deathbed. That happened to me, my Uncle Jim. I brought a priest in and he said, "Bill," because he broke his back and I had him put in the hospital and something. And I bring a priest in and he goes, "Bill, what are you bringing a priest for?" He said it right out loud too. I never gave God 2 cents, man. What are you bringing a priest here for? And I said to him, "Uncle Jim, God told me if I loved him, he'd save my whole family." And he's looking at me. I said, "You're my uncle." I said, "You want to live forever or you want to go to hell?" Is the gesture I made. I didn't say it to my uncle, he's like my dad, like my uncle, I wasn't belligerent to him or tried to insist that I was smarter than him or anything. I'm just saying, here's your opportunity, Uncle Jim. What do you want? Want to live forever? So he got the anointing of the sick, which forgives all your sins. It washes you clean. It's the Catholic Church now. And he received the body. And then he died. Right on his deathbed, never giving God 2 cents. His whole life, he said. I never give God 2 cents. But he was a good man. He sat in the bar. He had his bar stool where he sat all the time smoking his Lucky Strikes or whatever it was, because he died of lung failure, cirrhosis of the liver and all that. And all he did was cough. And he was there. He was like the king man to go see everybody going. They knew they'd get a free drink if they talked to Jim. Not everybody that went in there went over and talked to him because they didn't know who he was, but the ones that did know, he had it, he stroked them with a drink. So have a drink on me. What were they, 15 cents a draft back then? So he get you a drink for 15 cents. So $1.50, he can buy how many drafts? 100 drafts or something like that. So you have 100 guys come up to you and cost you $1.50 or something. Well, $1.50. If it's 15 cents a draft, each draft it would be about 45. You can get 5 or 6 drafts, 6 drafts. I don't know, I'm not thinking right. I don't want to go on a computer. I can't stand being a computer. Going in there and adding and subtracting in my brain. But, I'm telling you, it's 15 cents a draft back then. And it was like a 6-ounce glass of beer. Ice cold. Ice cold, too. Boy, they were addictive. You just put them right down, And within a couple of minutes, you'd have 3 of them down. That's 45 cents back then. And he had them going all over the bar. My dad loved to play euchre. He'd go near the cards, and all the men would be there, the thinkers, Hey, Donnie, come on over here. Because he was a pretty good thinker. My dad had a good brain in his head. He just had a bad habit, drinking. Why? Because all of his buddies were in the bar, and that's what they do. They drink. They buy each other drinks. Heck, I'd go in there, and he'd have a bunch of shot glasses turned upside down for drinks that people bought him, And he had to get them before the night. I don't know if he cashed it in and get credit or something. I don't know. Hey, it's closing time. Well, I got all these drinks here. Okay, I'll give you credit. Here's a slip, something like that, So that's where he was. He was in the bar until closing. He came home drunk, sit at the window talking to my mother because my mother wouldn't let him in. His breath was horrid. I could smell it in the bed. And the wind was blowing right. I could smell his breath. And he used to take me out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and stand me right in front of him and talk to me about not getting tattoos and stuff like that. But I had good jokes. He had this one buddy that laughed. Oh, man, this guy, my dad liked him because he laughed at my dad's jokes so hard. He wanted him around whenever he told him. He'd bring this guy, and the guy would start laughing, right, and make everybody else laugh, right? He's a good friend of his. So he came home one night, 3 o'clock in the morning, and got me up out of bed. He says, Bill, tell him your joke. Tell my friend your joke. And they were both drunk, I had lights on in the kitchen, He's sitting there in the chair, and I guess my mother made a cup of coffee for us. Now we have wide awake drunks. So, go ahead, Billy, tell him your joke. And so I looked at him, I says, why does the sea roar? And he looks at me. I don't know why. I said, if you had crabs on your bottom, you'd roar too. And this guy broke out laughing so hard, because I'm only 5 years old. I'm thinking real crabs, on the bottom, But he's thinking the other side, man, and he's rolling on the floor. And my dad is just laughing by watching his friend rolling on the floor, laughing his ass off because of my joke, some stupid little kid, I just knew that. I got it in school. Why does the sea roar? Well, if you had crabs on your bottom, you'd roar too. I think of it now, it's funny. From a little kid, I was only kindergarten. I think I was in 1st grade or something like that. I learned that joke at school. Why does the sea roar? Everybody tell their joke, their favorite little jokes they have. Tell me a dirty joke. Boy fell in a mud puddle. There you go. Whatever. So, that's one thing I caught myself getting into the other night. I'm doing this ocean wave, the motion like an ocean. I love you with my motion like an ocean. Those thoughts went through my head to put that into a song. God doesn't want me to make songs with sexual connotations, especially if they're a motra, where somebody can't get it out of their head. You got the motion. You're an ocean. And with the motion, use the motion like an ocean. Use emotion like an ocean. Use emotion like an ocean. I got a friend of mine. He's a pretty pretty good musician. This guy can play every instrument. I've only heard him play the guitar, and I saw him play a little bit of piano, I think. I think he plays a little bit of piano. He's got one, I haven't looked at it yet. Because, I don't have a lot of time, but I'm interested. I want to see what he does. He did this one bass run, and I did my not chicken. I guess it would be called, you could call them chicken wings. Put your chicken wings on. I call them bumblebee wings. I'm a humble bumblebee. I'm a humble bumblebee. Hey, can you say that real fast? Humble bumblebee, humble bumblebee, humble bumblebee, humble bumblebee, humble bumblebee. My videos could be made for kids, but sometimes I slip and I put in, and I don't edit my films. I don't go back and you get what you see is what you get, and that's it. I'm talking from my heart, so I don't have to worry about lying, because I don't lie. And if I do lie, it's because I'm not aware of the lie. And that's what AI is trying to do. That one guy that built the engine that ran on water, and what did he do? He drove from New York to California, or was it from California to New York? It was when I was alive. It was a big accomplishment, and they were going to hold a big banquet for him because he delivered society from oil and pollution. Oh, he's invented the water engine. Runs on H2O. Yeah, what happened? They had a big banquet, and they brought the toasts out and everything. And we're going to toast this man. He has saved the world from pollution. We now have, and all these oil, everybody around is in oil, and they're all looking at him, You know how many billions of dollars, or even trillions, that he just ripped everybody off out of because he invented an engine that runs on water. So they ain't gonna have that. You don't mess with the purse, man. So he takes a drink of his drink, and he grabs his throat and he runs out of the place, and his brother's running behind him. What's the matter? What's the matter? What's the matter? He busts through the doors. He turns around and he falls in his brother's arms, deader than a doornail. They poisoned him to death. You don't mess with the purse, man. You don't mess with big money. If you do, you're out of here. See you later, Jack. And don't you come back. No more, no more, no more, no more. See you later, Jack. You're not coming back to take our money away. You don't mess with the purse, people. It's like the horse and buggy and the choo-choo train. Who's going to make it there first? That's the way technology works. Now I'm talking to everybody with oil. I'm talking to all you people with oil. Here's a little secret I'm going to tell you. Invest it in the magnetic engine, because that's what's going to take over oil. As engines already run on magnets in cars, big ones. And they're going to refine it, and they have a metal now that's lighter than water. It will float on water, and it's tough, a tough metal. I heard about it. It's even new on the chart, what it is, on the chemistry chart that they have there. I forgot what it was called, F something, a new formula that's been added to our chart, our formula chart of all the different things. I know you have to understand what I'm talking about, be educated in that area, so I'm talking to the wind probably. But anyways, see how I get sidetracked? The engine, technology, is stifled by greed. Not for the good of man, by greed, because you're dipping into their purse. They make money off of oil, And now we don't need oil anymore because you invented a water engine. Well, what happened? Where's the water engine? Where's the guy that invented it? Both of them are dead. And oil still is king. Because there's a lot of trillions of dollars in it. We're all going to choke to death because somebody's greedy. Because of somebody's greed. And we can't get it together to snuff them out. They've got all the money. They cause a war so they can sell their armor that they're invested into. Cause a war. We got all this stockpile of stuff. Let's get a war going, man. So they buy it. That's what happens, people. Stockpile. All they're going to do is rot and rust. If we don't use them, let's start a war here. Take over something, get something for our bombs. Now they got these bunker bombs. The Pope even talked out about that one. He says, hey, there's a lot of innocent people you're killing there. And Trump, those innocent people are killing our innocent people when they grow up. So collateral damage, too bad. What's got to be done has got to be done. Either they stop making the fentanyl or they're all going to die because we're not putting up with it anymore. And if you come back into the country, I want a law saying if you come back into this country, something's got to be done with a stick. You got to go to a tree and pull off the stick. It's got to be as big as a broomstick. And you bring it back and we peel it in front of you, And then we lay you over a bench and we give you 20 whacks on your ass. And we tell you come back in the United States, you get twice it next time. See how many people come back then. Oh, you're going to start. Americans won't be able to walk anywhere. Bull crap. I bet you the world will start doing the same thing. They're going to take Americans and start whipping us. They want a bunker bomb? No way. You're going to get some fly-by-night rebels in the mountains that might do it to pay you back. When they hear it, they might grab an American, do the same thing to him. That's why we don't do it. But I'm saying sometimes it needs to be done no matter what. If there's collateral damage, there's collateral damage. How much of it? Warn them. Get out of the countries when you sense that they're against America. Or they have rebels that are hiding in the mountains or even in the cities. They'll kill you just not even feel guilt about it. And go to church after doing it. That's how nuts this world is. All the guys lining up for going to fight the world war. Me, myself, even myself, going to Mass before I go kill somebody. Thousands of people, I go to Mass before that. So I don't get killed. I do all the killing, but I won't get killed. I go to Mass. God forgive me. I went to Vietnam. I had my fingerprints on all those rockets. Thousands of them. We carried 10,000 just in one episode up there. We went up the river and we had, on both sides of the ship, there were cylinders. And each one had a rocket in them. That's what weighed our ship down. We had 150 guys on the ship, 157. And we only had 75 bunks. So where did everybody sleep? Because we were up sweating up the river, Saigon River, blowing up the VC at night. All of our fighting was done at night. We didn't even see it. All we did was blow everything up. The spotter planes went over in the daytime, took the concordance, and took and radioed it back to us. And we got on there, and our things went They'd be up like this now. Go straight up again, fill up with rockets again. 4 rockets each launcher. And there was 4 launchers on each side of the boat. That's 16 rockets. 16 rockets every 30 seconds. That's how long it took it to come up the elevator and get into the shaft, and then the buttons push and off they go. And you should see it, man. We're called the puff of the sea. If you're way off in the distance, all you can see is a puff of smoke, right? And all these rockets flying with their tails. You got to see it at nighttime. Oh man, I used to go. I was the guy who put, when they didn't take off, and they went out of the rocket and they just went ploop on the deck and they started spinning around. I had to put them out. Everything they caught on fire while they're spinning around. You can't put that rocket. They spin around until they fizz out. And those things go 7 miles. That's our range, 7 miles. And all that, it's like a torch, a great big huge torch with a flame coming out of it, about that big, coming out of the back, spinning around the deck. And your job is to put out all the fires it causes. Heck, I put out a fire hose. That's how penetrating and fierce the flame is coming out of that rocket. Because they go 7 miles before they explode. Imagine that, you're sitting there, 16 rockets come in, boom, 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 and you start running. Where are you going to run? You don't know which direction, because there's another 16 coming, and another 16 coming every 30 seconds. You're a dead man. And we wiped out village after village after village. We're feeling guilty, too. Especially after I saw what I saw. I was a fire watch, so I had binoculars and everything, too, because I watched what was going on the shore and everything. I was the watch during Rocket 1. Captain made me. He liked me, and I steered the ship from Philippines all the way to Vietnam. I mean, I didn't do it all at once. It took 13 days, but on my shift. He liked the way I did, because it was a typhoon weather. And the waves are like 70 feet high, 50, 60, 70 feet, maybe even higher than that. I was on the deck during that storm. I went out because I had to check the oil dumps. They were all over the deck. You had to unscrew it and go down there and find out, see how much oil there is. But when the ship's going like that, I mean, you can't really get, the ship has to be smooth so you can get a nice, but they just wanted to make sure that there was oil in the tank. So you go down there and, yep, there's oil in the tank, because you couldn't take an accurate reading. So that was my job one time. We were out in a storm, typhoon, huge waves. This great big wave came up beside me, right? And it was so big, I thought the whole ship was going to tip over. And guess what came out of it and looked right at me? The biggest shark I ever seen in my life. I think it was a whale or something. It was one of those white, he just came out and he's just looking at me. And then he went back into the wave. Because I was right there. He could have, went back in the wave. Okay, I know where he is. And then swam a little bit, and all of a sudden, jump out and grab me, and nobody ever know where I went. Because I was right there on the side of the ship where the railing was and all that. He could have jumped out, grabbed me, and nobody would have known where I went. It was nighttime when I saw that shark. Man, that was a big shark, man. I don't even know if it was a shark. Maybe it was some type of a sea creature that hasn't been discovered yet. Man, that thing was huge. Teeth and everything. Yeah, freaking look. Yeah. What was that? I think about it now. Came out and looked and turned and went back into the wave. And I'm puking. That's what called him in. I'm puking over the side. I'm chumming. What's this? Who's puking here? I smell the chum. What's going on here? What's that, a human being? Oh, they taste good. They got blood and everything. Oh, yeah, I'm going to grab him. And just then I fell back and went on the deck and laid down on the deck, moaning and groaning, my tongue hanging out. Sick, puking. That freaking typhoon. Oh, my God. And I went and still did my duty. You know, I did my duty still, even though I felt like I felt. Heck, you went and ate at the table, sat at the table to eat, right? And your silverware's on the table, right? And the ship is shaking so bad that your silverware is shaking, and the ship's going like this, you know. So when the silverware is shaking and the ship turns like this, your silverware, you have to reach out and grab your silverware and bring it back, put it in front of you, start shaking again. You keep on grabbing it, bringing it back, put it in front of you. I tried to write a letter. I got a copy of it too. You should have seen the letter I tried to write. I tried to write a letter, you know, and it came out all vibrations. I mean, you could read. I did it so you could read it. I mean, you could read it, but all the lines were, you know, this is how my hand's going while I'm on the ship. That's how the ship's vibrating. The ship vibrates from the ship's engine. It vibrates the whole ship. You know, you got to get used to that. You know, and then you got to get used to, you can't eat. I ate oranges and crackers. Then right up they came. Good God, 13 days in a typhoon. You talk about torture. I was tortured. I went into the service. I went and I didn't need to go. I had an undersetted testicle, but I went in, I'm going to serve my country, and I had it chopped off. I gave up my left testicle to serve my country while everybody else was going to Canada burning their draft cards. Now they're back in the United States collecting Social Security. I'd like to know how that happened. We sacrifice and they run, and then they get all the spoils. That's what I see that's happening in society. The more people you can rip off, the richer you get. And that's the way it's getting. Everybody's ripping everybody off, especially the elderly. I got ripped off really good. It's in my videos. I'm not going to go into that. I got a video on it, that's for sure. I documented it, and I'm not going to go die and have that happen to elderly people in the future. So maybe it will go viral, or maybe the word will get out. This is how they do it, people. How they rip you off, the elderly, for money. They rely on your memory loss. I brought 2 phones into this place that fixes phones. There's this young woman there, young girl. I'm a grandpa. You know what I mean? She's just a young little girl, you know, sweet looking and everything. She goes, oh, I'll fix them. You can come back in 25 minutes. They'll both be fit. Not both. She says, I'll fix them in 25 minutes. Come back in 25 minutes. So I went next door, and I did my thing there, and I come back in 25 minutes. And what happened? She comes out with my phone, hands it to me. She says, well, you're a veteran, so we give you a discount. It's only $30. All she did was went in, and something was $30. Well, they got to get his service. You know, that's what they do. It's up front. So I didn't mind that. And so she gave it to me, and everything was working fine. I said, well, what about my other phone? She looks at me. She goes, what other phone? I said, the phone I just bought, $1,500 phone. I just bought it. And there was something wrong with it. So with those little dots at the bottom, I forgot, there's about 6 or 7 little teeny dots that showed up on the screen that are different colors. I still got them. I'm looking at them right now. They're underneath my button that you push right here. And right underneath it's those dots. And I went in and had them look at it. What's this all about? So she says, well, I have to put it on a charger because it's not charged up. I got to turn it on to get into it and all that stuff. And you don't have any electric in it. And I said, okay. So I watched her. She went over and she had a big white cord. I remember the big white cord. And she plugged it in the back of my phone and stuck it up on the shelf. in the back room. There was a door between where she comes out, talks to the customers, then she goes through that door into the back. But the door was held open for some reason by her foot or something, because she's just plugging it in and putting it up there, right? So I come back in 25 minutes. She tells me, what other phone? Come on, man. You're fixing phones. You got a job, this much responsibility, and you can't remember I gave you 2 phones 25 minutes ago. You didn't give me another phone? She goes, insisted on it. And it looked so sweet and innocent. You didn't give me another phone? So I said, well, maybe I have my dementia's got up. You gave that back to me, and I just took it out of the car. Let me go out and look. I looked around the car, and then I remembered the white cord. I came back in, and just as I come back in, her manager was coming out of the back door there, and the door was open. And I looked real quick where she put my phone, and there was that white cord, and there was my phone. And I looked at her, and I says, there's my phone right there. And she looks at me, and I raised my voice. She says, sir, lower your voice. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Mistakes happen, she goes. I says, and God knows if they're a mistake or not, too. He's trying to rip me off from my phone. He's trying a brand new phone, $1,500. She'd have a brand new phone. I just bought it, too, not too long ago. It's not even, I don't think it's a year old yet. Anyways. Now, if I want another phone, because this one's got the dots in the bottom, I call them up and say, send it back in. We'll send you one that works. You send it back in. So when you get it, put your phone in the box and send it back in within 14 days. I said, okay. So I forgot. They sent it, and then I forgot to send it back in 14 days, so I get a bill in the mail for $1,200. They charged me for the phone they sent me, because I didn't send the other one back in 14 days. See the game that they got? And they got arbitration. You can't take them to court. They're ripping the general public off. All the elderly people are suffering because of a lack of memory, dementia, the drugs they're on. All you want is fish thrown up into the sky with about 100 seagulls all going for it at once. Did you ever see that happen? Go down to the ocean and throw bread up in the air, see what happens. Not only do you get shit on, everybody is beating everybody else out to get that bread. There's a bunch of screaming seagulls, and that's the way our society is now. You got all these people, elderly people with a bank account, and they know they're sitting on a pile of cash, and they're going to find out how to steal it. And they get you through your credit cards. I know a guy who lost 70 grand. He couldn't get it back. He was on the internet complaining about it. $70,000 they ripped him off for. That's what's going on in the world. A bunch of thieves, a bunch of hoodwinking crooks. That's what we're bringing up. Why? Because we changed our laws. They don't go to church anymore. They have no empathy for anyone. If you were their father, these new children that come up, I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying a majority of them. They only care about themselves. And when they see an old man, they maybe get $1,500 off of, they'll grab it, and without any conscience about it. I got other stories that I tell you about how they grabbed money away from me right in my face. I trusted everybody, had a pile of money, and they went into that and stole from me. I proved it too, and I brought the cops in. And because they're the big establishment paying the big taxes, the cop says to me before we go in the room, he goes, before we go in the building to get my amplifier they were stealing, they told me, because I told them to put it back in my truck, right? When I was buying this Casserio organ from them, I said, put all my stuff, I had my amplifier down there to get a microphone for it. And I wanted to test it out, so I brought my amplifier in. And it's one of those new Fender acoustic twos, with all the voice enhancement. They don't last long. I'm having problems with them, and I've had them a couple years, but I hardly use them. But now I'm having problems with them. The lights don't work on them, they indicate what voice you're in, and uh, sometimes they just don't pick up the signal from the guitar. I got one right now I can't use because it won't pick it up. I stick in the plug and all that, and the guitar amplifier won't work because I put two of them. And they were the state of the art, man. You could adjust your voice. They have everything. It's like I'm actually talking on the phone right now. I don't realize it, but I think I can hear it. Yeah, I'm on. Watch. I'm on. Can you hear me? Yeah, you can see that, hear that, and see it. I forgot that was on. Sometimes things like that happen, and when I make a recording, I say, boy, that came out pretty clear, And I realized the microphone was on, Because when the microphone's on, you might want to go too loud and screw things up. People go, oh man, I can't handle that. Turn down your phone, I've got a lot of videos that I made. You got to listen to me talk like this before you hear my music. But if you stick it out to the end where I play my songs, it's worth it. Either that or advance the tape ahead until you see me playing the guitar. Then stop it and then go to the beginning of the song, find out where it is, push play, then listen to the song if you don't want to hear me talk. I mean, who wants to sit around? Maybe some old lady in a nursing home might listen to me all day long. Who knows? I don't know. I had one probably a little while ago. She wanted my credit card number. I'm not going to give no credit card numbers. It was something about music. Anyway, she was in a nursing home. See, how stupid I was. She'd get my credit card number and start charging stuff, What am I going to do? Sue a little old lady in a nursing home? Well, think about it. Think about things that happen. The people that you least expect are the ones that stab you in the back. Man, I've had that happen. Just recently. I didn't expect that child that took my 2 phones to try to steal one of them. Innocent, beautiful child. And she's a hoodwinked thief. Man, that's the way it is. You don't bring them up right, they grow up to your disgrace. You gotta whip them. I was whipped when I was a kid, and I respected my dad right in the grave, even though he was a drunk. I still did what he said. I didn't even get a card when I graduated from college. Nobody gave a shit about me and my family. I didn't even get a congratulation card from anybody in my family. 9th grade dropout, graduated from college, honor student. 2 40 degrees and 1 2-year. If I don't tell you, who's going to tell you? I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you, that's my circumstance. I dropped out of school going into the 10th grade because they wouldn't play football, and I quit. I spent a couple of years around here in apartments and working jobs, odd jobs. I had 23 jobs 1 year, and 1 year once. I worked for that day labor place, looking for where do I want to work? Let me see. And everything was labor. Everything was, I don't want to work here. You're always the dog that gets beat, kicked around, all that stuff. When you don't have any status, you don't have a degree, you're not in management or anything like that. You just get kicked around, told what to do. And I want this case cleaned out and wash it down, paint it, put all the stuff back in it right now. I want it done. I should have it done by the end of the day. Something like that. You got that big burden, and what do you get at the end of the day back then? $1.25 an hour. I was working 95 cents an hour. At the end of the day, I didn't even get $10. 95 cents an hour for 8 hours work. And they gave me a free hamburger and a shake for my break, you know. Big deal. It cost them a nickel, if that, back then. Now I'm 77. I'm talking when I was a kid, 15. I had to lie my age to get the job to make milkshakes at Carol's milkshake. What do they call that? Carol's Hamburger Stand on Court Street. It's not there any longer. There's a building in there that has apartments in it where they used to be, or it's a business or something now. But Carol's Hamburger Stand is my first job. I made milkshakes. There was a guy there. He was the head man. You know, he had the hamburgers flipper in his hand, and he'd slap it on the table, and he'd boss us all around. He says, "Nixon, I want 4 milkshakes over here to go with these burgers. Hurry it up." "Yes, sir." And I'd make them 4 and get them over there and stick them in front of them. "Yeah, you're a good milkshake." And he'd slap his skewer on the grill. You know, his had a big hamburger turner, you know, a spatula. He'd slam it and order people around, you know. He was the big manager of the place, Carol's Hamburger Stand. I wanted to be a hamburger flipper myself. I was going to be a hamburger flipper. I want to be a hamburger flipper so I can boss everybody around. And that was my goal back then at 15 years old. I'm thinking, oh, I want to be a hamburger flipper. Jeepers. So I can be the boss. Yeah. Give him a burger as a tip. Give him a burger. One of those burgers that fell on the floor over there. It's in that basket. Give it to him as a tip. Scumbag, you worm. That's that's what happens when I tell a joke. That's the hypnic. That and hypnic jerk. This cough. You just saw a little bit of it. See how it... Shit. I did that. It's 1,000 days. It's past 1,000. No, what's the date? November the 24th, 2023, I caught COVID. I had already went through 9 days of withdrawal from opioids before that. Oh, that was one of the hardest things I ever did, to break away from my opioid addiction because of my spinal stenosis, my back. And I was hooked on opioids. I was a slug and a rug, and I weighed 358 pounds. I'm down to, hey, I might be 219 this morning. I was looking to get under 220. I haven't seen that in a long time. And the other day it was 225, then I went down 223, and I'm thinking, well, I've been fasting, and I've been drinking a lot of water, and I go in there and I should be under 220. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping I'm going to be under 220. I made my goal. And that will help me, give me an incentive of getting even more off. I want to get down to about, if I could get down to 160, my fighting weight, that'd be cool. But right now, Mike Tyson's fighting weight, 220. 219, 220. I'm right between there, you know. I hope it's under 220. I'm sorry. I'm 225 the other day. Then I went down to 223. Now today, I hope I'm under 220. I didn't go down to 220. I hope I'm under it, because I was skipping a couple pounds each day. Because it's mostly water weight. You know, water weighs 8.6 pounds per gallon. I think that's what it weighs. Somewhere around here. I'm not into metrics. I never was. Even though I'm a college graduate or anything, I don't even know what metrics is. Metric measurements. I turn away from it. I don't want the Europeans. You know, you gotta be, well, you're in America, you do it metric. Or conventional, put it that way. I don't even know what they call it. Measurements. I had a nephew. I tested him out one time. He's pretty intelligent. You know, he could learn and do things. But he cowed away from measuring tapes. I think he has dyslexic or something. Maybe he was looking at the numbers backwards or something like that. A lot of people do that. When I had my house built, I hired this guy to make a header. And the measurement was 87 inches across. And he made it 78, made the whole thing, put it up there, was too small. Over $100 and his time. I lost. But we cut that header up and used it someplace else. But he made that mistake because he was dyslexic. He read the measurement 78 inches rather than 87 inches. A lot of people have trouble with measuring tapes because they're dyslexic. They read things backwards. You know, can't get a true measurement. So they cow away from using measuring tapes and being in construction and measuring things and stuff. Because, well, this guy did a pretty good job, though, even though he was dyslexic. It only happened once in a while. Most of his measurements were right on. Because he helped frame my house. I hired him because he had experience. He said he did, but he wanted the chance, so I gave it to him. I said, okay. I liked him. He was a good kid. And he had a buddy that I worked a lot of jobs with after I built my house because we had words, you know, and he tried to be the boss, and I wasn't going to let him be the boss. I'm the boss. I'm older, and I'm richer, and I'm smarter. I'm the boss. He didn't like that. So we didn't stay as friends. He wanted to be the boss. And man, what a brassy guy he was. I let him be the boss on a construction job one time, pouring concrete. He was ordering everybody around in a deep voice, do this, do that, go in here, you get over here and do this. You know, I said, what the heck did I let loose? Yeah, give Toby a sock? That's what I did. Man, he turned into one little demon like boss. Then he tried to take me over. I had a big job. Safety was involved. I told him, let's put scaffolding on top of that. We had scaffolding up, and we were going to put boards across, so we didn't have to toggle on the scaffolding. When it was up, we could stand on it because it had boards. He didn't want that. He says, I'm just go up there and shoot this gun, because they had this gun, nail gun, that goes through steel, and we had this nail things up there that we could nail to, and we were building a wall in a factory. So I says, no, I'm going to put them up there. And he says, I don't want them up here. I says, I'm putting them up there. So I put them up there. I started putting them up there, right, for safety. And all the people, there was a lot of people there watching us in the factory. I says, I don't want somebody getting hurt here. So I put boards across so you could walk instead of toggle across everything, you know. He was agile. He probably could have done the job without anything and laugh at me. See, I told you so, but I was going to take no chances. So I went up and did it anyways, and he goes, all right, outside right now. He's looking at me. I'm the boss, right? And I want to put safety in. And he looks at me, all right, outside right now. And I looked at him, and he's got a big knife strapped to his belt. So I went outside. And he followed me out. And when he came at me like this, I was thinking knife. And I whacked him hard. He went out cold. He was out for 2 weeks in the hospital. Called me up, wanted me to pay the bill. I paid it. Even though he was the one with the knife calling me outside. I'm not a Christian doormat. I'll defend my country, and I'll defend my territory, and I'll defend my job. I paid my dues. Now I got all these people moving in and around me. I took the trailers off the street, and everybody's house went up 50 grand. They were selling them over 100,000. Everybody sold their houses, moved off the street, and all these new people came in from New York. Couldn't believe they can get into a neighborhood. You don't have to lock the door for under 200K. They're all moving in all around me, your grass is too long, they're telling me now. Yeah, they called the cops on me, and they called the town on me. The town ordered me, said if I don't cut it, they're going to order me into court with a subpoena, arrest me, because my grass is too long. Decorated war veteran, this street is worth what it is to them because of me. I took the trailers off the street, and everybody's house went up 50 grand. They sold this one house up the corner here. The guy was worried. I was a broker, and he asked me, "Can you think I can get 125 for my house?" I said, "We can put it on the market, see what we can get, stuff like that. You don't have to sell it." So he didn't. He died. Then his children took it over, and they didn't use me because I was an authority figure to them. I was their school teacher and all that other stuff at the church. I taught CCD, played music and all that. And they decided, they grew away from me. So he said, I know what it was. When they sold it, I wasn't a broker anymore. And I'm retired now. I paid 15 years as a real estate. I think it was 6 years as a salesman and the rest as a broker. And I hurt my back going upstairs. Well, now I got to go and show the house. And, you show the house, you go through the lane, nobody buys nothing, and here you are with the backache. So I retired. That's it for me. I'm done. So I've been sitting around my house just doing things. And in 2003, I caught COVID-19. COVID-19. Man, it knocked the daylights out of me. Gave me a hypnic jerk. Hypnic jerk is when you almost fall asleep and then you come back. That's a hypnotic jerk. And that's one of the side effects of COVID. You just try to go to sleep at night and you go to sleep and then you're awake. Sometimes you wake up and you want to go do something. You haven't even been to sleep yet. And you get very little sleep too with the hypnic jerk. Just before I talked on the phone here, I was almost falling asleep, and then I come right back. I said, hypnic jerk. And I says, I was going to make a video on that, so that's why I'm making this video. The hypnic jerk reminded me to make this video. So, I've got 3 guitars in front of me right now. One electric copy of a Fender Strat. And then I have a Seagull 12-string, which I am impressed with. But I don't like their battery. Their battery, a couple days, and if you forget, you don't take it out, you got a 9-volt battery, it turns dead, it won't work. You can't electrify it. But it sounds good normally. It's a acoustic electric, and it has its own tuner in it. I like it. It's a nice guitar. It was expensive too. They're on the market for $949. On the internet, you can get them. I got it cheaper than that because the guy I do business with, he gave me a discount on it. So I got to get back in there because they're asking me to do some gigs now. Vireo wants me to go in there and play my song, the Vireo song, which I'm going to record now. I'm in the process of doing that. I'm going to take it and make a looper. I have a looper that goes for a minute and a half. I'll put the beat in that, Then I'll come back and play different instruments. Put the beat in there and come back and play, recorded it again, put different instruments in. Like I got the tambourine, cabasa, claves. I have, what is all those? I got one that's really cool. It's a bunch of shells. Walnut shells. No. Yeah, I mean, horse chestnut shells. That's what they are. Like a horse chestnut shell, but they're cooked and they're hard as can be. But when you click them together, what a neat sound they make. So I have a big ball of them. They're all tied together, and I shake that with my cabasa. Cabasa is, I'll show you some of this stuff. A cabasa is this right here. And then you go. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. That's a cabasa. I like to do this because it helps kids. They see them, they don't know, what does that do? How do you work that? Well, I'm going to show you when I make my song here. I was going to do this yesterday and I got interrupted. I don't know. Right now I'm fasting. I'm starving to death. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I haven't had anything to eat. I want to get below 220. I just want to get there, and then I'll table out and I'll just eat a little bit. Yogurt or something that isn't going to put weight on me. Some proteins and stuff like that. I'm going to stay away from the breads, the flour stuff, the white sugar. But man, I have a craving for it. Oh, do I get craving? And I don't completely fast from it. In other words, give it up. I've got these little chocolate balls. They come. There's 30 of them in a container. They're about $6-7. They're covered in the inside. They have that pudding filling, and they're froze. So you bring them home, you let them sit there for a while, and they unfreeze, and you got these chocolate balls with cream filling, that yellow vanilla filling, pudding filling that they have. That's inside these things, man. I'm hooked on them. But I keep them. I had 30. I bought. I've got 30 of them. I've had 4, and I bought them last week. So I use them as a special treat. I don't eat one. I bring it out, eat it. Oh, they're good. Because if I sat down, pigged out, I'd be 350 pounds again. That's where I was before, just laying around on that opioids. So anyways, I got off of opioids. I don't take any opioids. They gave me some Tylenol number 3 for my foot 2 weeks ago, and I took. There was only 15 of them. They wouldn't give you a full prescription, 30. They gave you half a prescription. Here, take this if you have pain and all that stuff. So you don't have enough pain for that long, and you got a couple left over. They sit around for a long time because if something happens and you need one, I don't mind doing that. I haven't given up. I haven't said I'm giving up opioids. If something happens to liquid THC, I'm going to go back on opioids, which make a slug and a rug out of me. The THC, at least I'm mentally alert. I'm on it right now, people. Can you tell? Maybe I have a little droopy eye, but that's from not sleeping. My brain is constantly either praying or doing something, playing music, chords. I constantly go from the time I get up in the morning and I don't go to sleep. I just constantly go. Sometimes I say to myself, How come I'm not sleeping? And I get this word, and well, you're in heaven, Billy. Remember, St. TZ gave you a little bit of heaven. She offered it, and you raised your hand. You said you wanted it, so you got it. And I do. And I do, man. I got heaven all. Wherever I look, I have it. I can just go show you pictures of Jesus and his mother coming on a cloud, on a Eucharistic cloud of glory. Jesus coming on a Eucharistic cloud of glory. The Maranatha. I've been told no one's in heaven yet. The beatific vision hasn't happened yet, where Jesus comes and the heavens open up and sin is locked away forever, and the gates of heaven are open, and all God's people are there, his angels too. His angels aren't in heaven either. I can't understand. This is what I'm trying to investigate. Because I have heard that no one's in heaven. The gates of heaven will not be opened until the Maranatha, and that is the coming of the Lord Jesus on a cloud of glory. I just showed you a picture of it. Eucharistic cloud of glory. And he's here already. He's been here since he left. He said, I will go to the Father who is greater than I. Note that. Note that, Muslims. We're not saying that he's Allah. We're saying he's the Son of God who is one with God. And the Spirit, when the Son and the Father united, they hugged and they created a Holy Spirit who became an individual entity all to itself, but one with God. You got to understand what's going on. Get back. Come home. All you Muslims out there, you're my brothers and sisters. My heritage is Muslim. I'm a Catholic now, Roman Catholic. I eat and drink the body and blood of Christ, and I confess my sins, and he said, you will live forever. Do you want to live forever? My brothers and sisters, especially the Muslims. I'm Arab. I got Arab in me. 1100 AD, Arabs owned Sicily, and that's where I'm from. I have it in my heritage, my blood. I was a Muslim at one time, because if you weren't, you got beheaded, so here I am. I must have been a Muslim. Come on now. I'm an Irish Sicilian, and my mother's heritage was Jewish. I wanted to hear that one. She comes from the line of Mary of Magdalene. Mary came and joined North Africa. She came and went into Frank, which is called France now. And because she was royalty in the crucifixion, she was next to Jesus on the cross, they let her into the royalty of the French government. So her bloodline came down through. I'm a bastard of her bloodline because the people that were her descendants had women on the side because peasants and royalty couldn't marry. So they had their wives on the side with children and all that. And they had their regular marriages too with children. And I am from that lineage. He had a mistress, and I am a child of that mistress. See, I'm not fully in the line of Mary of Magdalene. I have the same blood, though. But I'm a bastard. I didn't have a legitimate marriage to be claimed as a descendant of Mary of Magdalene. I don't know how many people can trace that back, but it's said that she came to North Frank, which is now France, and married into the royalty because they were all Christian Jews. So all the royalty were Christian Jews. And when she came to Northern Frank, she married in, and that's the descendants from that, and that's the line I'm in. But I'm a bastard. But I still have the same blood. God don't care if you're a bastard. How many guys had 50 wives? Come on, man. God call them all bastards? I don't think so. All the children born to a king or to a rich man had 50 wives. That's why I'm saying Sharia law. I'm thinking about it. See how long I can go? I can just keep on going. But that's why I say Sharia law is not good for the United States unless they modify it. They got to modify it. You can't get married at 6 and then consummate it at 9. That's a pervert. But in the United States, perversion is legal now. So we let them in. Let them in, let them have their Sharia law. They'll have 10 wives. They'll move into a town and have 10 wives, and have all these children, and you'll have to take and put through school with your taxes. You don't know what you're in for, people. Yeah. Oh, give them their rights. Come in and let them practice their religion. Yeah, you let them practice their religion, and they'll swallow you up. And then I'm hoping on cultural clash, because it's usually that first generation you got to put up with all the crap. And Sharia law, I'm remembering this is what it's. Well, we're going to be brought up with this. No, you're not. If you're in the United States, you're going to be brought up with the morals and character of an American citizen. And if you don't like it, go back where you came from. In the mountains, in some cave. Because you're always running. You want to come to be free, come to America. Most of us Christians in America will give. But what's happening is they take and laugh, and take and laugh, and take and laugh. Because we were gamed out of the whole community down in Florida I was in. They brought these Vietnamese back in, to the country. And so they go into a town and they join a church. And they let everybody in the church know that they were in need. And everybody in church, Christian people, they're not from here. Let's help them out. So somebody gets a refrigerator that they've had 2 over. One's down in the cellar or something, or they buy one, or they've got one that's halfway, doesn't work good, but a little fixing. They can go buy a new one and give this one away. That's what usually happens. Everybody buys new equipment for their house, new washer, dryer, all that. Well, it goes in to where these Chinese people got them, right? Or Philippines. I don't know where they were from. They were refugees, and they came to the church, and we helped them out, and we give them everything. They had television, stove, refrigerator, and washers and dryers and all that. We decked them all out, put them there. They come to our church. And then what happens? About 3 months later, after they're in our church, they're hugging everybody and all that stuff, you know what I mean? Everybody's helping them out, bringing them dishes and food and all that stuff. And then 3 months later, or maybe 6 months later, you go to their house to see them, and they're gone. And you look in the house, and there's nothing in the house. They sold everything that you gave them, and they took off. Now they're in another church, trying to get them to give them refrigerator and a stove and a car. You bunch of dumbasses. But anyways, God looks at it. God looks at it as a pretty good game for somebody from a subculture to come in and game a dominant culture out of their money. He just laughs at it, Dumbs. The dumbs, help dumbs. But, they deserve to live too. If they're smart enough to hot foxes to get ahead, there'll just be a story in their lineage. They'll say, oh, well, we came in the United States and we worked our way up by going to different churches and getting them to supply us with everything and selling it, moving on, doing the same thing until we became rich, had money in the bank. But nowadays, you don't even have to do it. They give you $3,800 something, what I heard. $3,800 a month if you're a refugee and you've been persecuted and you're in this country. They have a program. Our people on the streets, born in the United States, don't even get $600 a month from Social Security because they couldn't work their life. They're on the streets. While all these vagabonds from other countries that don't even like America come in, get on a program that pays them $3,800 a month. That was the last I heard of it. I don't know if they discontinued that or not. But Trump was saying, oh, what are we paying all this money out to these people? And here's a check to somebody who's 200 years old. Then he looks around and he's looking at all of his people. He says, does anybody know anybody 150 years old? Everybody looks at each other. No, I don't know. Neither do I. Why are we paying them their Social Security check and they're 150 years old? Has anybody ever checked that out? We got to revamp here. We got to push the reset button. Start doing things correctly. Start finding out where all the chump change going adds up to be major. I look like I'm bald because I have a white pillow behind my head. I just noticed that. I said, am I bald? Yeah, I'm not bald. That's my hairline my whole life right there. When I was a teenager, that's where my hairline was. Nixons have high foreheads. I told my niece, she's out in California, says, you got the Nixon forehead. You need to comb your hair down over your forehead. A woman does. He goes, stick that forehead out there. All you can see is a forehead, Your beauty, your true beauty, put your hair over your forehead, look nice. Put some makeup on. My wife doesn't do any of that. She doesn't go to a beautician. She doesn't even put makeup on. Once in a while, if we're going to someplace and we're going to be with people, she'll put lipstick on and eyeshadow. Eyelid liner. Eyelid, and put some lipstick on. That's all she does. And it's very light lipstick. She doesn't beautify herself. She'd be a nice looking woman if she'd go in and take care of herself, but she just won't. She is a nice looking woman on the inside. The outside she don't care about. It's gonna die anyways. She's just worried about her spirit being right in front of God's eyes. And she's lived a good life. She's a strong woman too. No, I don't think there's another woman in the world that could have put up with me. Because I didn't beat anybody, but I was very boisterous about my opinion. And if you didn't like it, get away from me. That's the way I was back then. And I had the looks to go along with it too. I was built like a Adonis. Oh, you should see some of the pictures. I can't find them. They're on the internet, and I just can't find them anymore. They were on Facebook, me with bulging muscles and everything. I took pictures, posted it on the internet when I was, how old? 16, 17, 18, 19. I took pictures of me. They even had suntan lotion on, oiled. They oiled me. They took these pictures. I looked like I belonged in a muscle magazine. Because I've been working out ever since I was 13, 14 years old. I'm just turning into being a man, went in the service. They made me the petty officer, athletic petty officer in boot camp because of the way I looked, the shape I was in, rippled stomach, big arms, man. I was doing chin-ups on the clothesline bars. You know, they have 2 bars, T-bars, and the clothesline running from one to another. I get on one end and I just do chin-ups all the time, man, until I couldn't even do one, you know. Get my muscles all full of blood and all that stuff and be big. Walk around, everybody looks at you, holy cow, how do you get an arm like that? Wow, look at that arm. I had some big arms, man. I did. That's the way I was when I was a kid. I thought that way. I don't think that way now. I want to be lean. I'd like to be 160 with just a lean muscle structure. I know I can't get rid of the fat hanging. Not the fat, the skin. The fat's gone, but the skin hangs. And know what I've noticed? If I work out, pump my muscles up, the saggy skin is a lot less. Doesn't completely go away, but it's a lot less because my muscles are filling that space that I starved away. Now I got hanging skin, you know. What do you do with hanging skin? I got my arms will hang. I don't know if I can show you. Yeah, you can see. Yeah. I used to have some big arms, man. It hurts to make a muscle now. Jeepers. Which I got to go in and do some pumps. I do have a 30-pound and a 20-pound. I do, 10 with the 20, and as many as I can. After I do the 10 with the 20, I do as many as I can with the 30. And when your arm's all tired out, so you're going to get about 5 or 6 in, but you pump it in there real solid. That's the way I used to work out. And I'm thinking about refraining from working out that way because that's the way I was when I was young and had a real healthy heart and everything. I'm old now and I have a healthy heart, but I've had lung problems and all that stuff, and I've been laying around. And you just can't go in and regain in your old age what you forsaked in your youth, people. You got to bring some health with you when you get old, or you'll just die young. Because you get sick and you get in bed, you're not healthy, you curl up in the embryo stage, and your organs die and you die. I've watched it happen to people. They're healthy and they just can't get up out of bed, and they just curl up. Atrophy takes over. Curl up into a ball, and then they bury you. And then you inherit worms, turn into dust. I don't know how long it takes me. How long would it take to do that? I could see it 50,000 years from now digging your grave up, you know. Here's somebody from 50,000 years ago. And all there's is a pile of dust there. I've seen them dig up frozen bodies from the north, you know, or even frozen elephants. That happened that quick. It came all of a sudden, froze them. They were frozen in time. And we find them and uncover them, and if we knew how to throw them out, they could walk around the earth, you know. Even they're froze. You know, it's like putting a steak in the freezer and taking it out in 6 months, you know. And eating it, it's good, too. Which reminds me, I'm starving. It's what, 2:35, 37, 38, somewhere around here. And I was going to do some music, and I talked too long. So this is going to be a talk tape. I don't know, maybe I've said something, you know, that will help somebody out someday. I'm occupying somebody's time somewheres. I'm not the most intelligent person in the world, but I can hold my own. Matter of fact, I don't want to brag or anything, but I took the IQ test on the internet not too long ago, within the last 6 months. And I can't remember where it was because I have pugilistic dementia, short-term memory loss. I can remember a lot of things from my past, and I can talk all day about them. But short-term stuff like I got a bottle of Coke in my hand, right? Or a bottle of, what's the name of that stuff? A non-alcoholic wine. I don't drink alcohol. So I have non-alcoholic wine. I buy Martin Marinelli's or something like that. That's what it's called. I buy that. And there's other grape juices that are real tasty that I like to drink. They're just like wine. They're made out of pure grapes. 100% grape juice. But they can't call it wine. They have to call it a juice. Because wines are a status. You have to charge tax and everything on wines. Well, you do on regular drinks too, food drinks, but there's more, I don't know if there's more of a tax on wines or not. I don't know how they do that, why they do that, why they can't be called a wine. They have to be called a grape drink. This is what it says. That's what I'm drinking. Martinelli is one of them that I'm using. It's locally here. They make their own grapes and all that. Very rare. Well, now they have grape vineyards and stuff. Up north here, you can go up around the valleys, around the Great Lakes. All kinds of white grapes, all kinds of grape wine testing places to stop at up there. That's the wine testing trail in New York State, is up there through the mountains, Catskills. They have all these stop-offs, wine tasting up in where they have the rolling hills and the Great Lakes. Rolling hills and the Great Lakes, that's prime wine. I've gone down and drove down through them. They have roads that go along the river, but they go through the wine properties. And you can take a road from the main highway down into the lake and then run along the lake at 30 miles an hour. We even stop and stay in a hotel or a bar. If we do stop and stay overnight, we make sure that we go to this one bar that's way up in the Great Lakes, and you can take a boat to it. You know, a lot of boat docks are all around this bar. I don't know what the name is. I forgot. It's been a while. But he can... let's see, I'm losing track of what I'm trying to tell you about. Oh, the Great Lakes and the rolling hills for the vine trees, for the grapes, non-alcoholic. And I was talking about I have non-alcoholic wine that I drink, but it can't be called wine. It's called grape drink. And there's different types I drink. I don't want to spend too long on that. I get tired. See, I'm kind of like getting a hypnic jerk, and I'm coming back and talk to you. And I can go be here for 4 or 5 minutes, then wake up and say, "Oh, jeepers, I'm still taping. When did I fall asleep?" So I'm gonna end it. God bless you all. Come, Holy Spirit, kindle us 5-year love. Send forth your Spirit. Shall be created, and you shall renew the face of the earth. O God, did instruct the hearts of the faithful by the light of the Holy Spirit. Grant us in that same Spirit be truly wise and rejoice in His consolation. Through Christ our Lord. Amen. Eat His body, drink His blood, confess your sins, and live forever. If you don't, you have no life within you.